Apparently, according to reports, we might soon be seeing the last of FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director of the FBI, Dan Bongino. They could soon both be gone, or maybe one of them is already gone, actually. We're not sure. But why? Why would they be going? Well, Kash Patel has bungled maybe one too many responses to tragedies, to massacres. And Dan Bongino apparently literally has not shown up to work for weeks. And so there's 3 different sources inside of the FBI that have been talking to the media about this. And look, we know that Kash Patel has really bungled things in a way that has made him kind of a laughing stock both inside and outside of the FBI. And remember, he started off a laughing. He's not a guy who was qualified for the position. It was ridiculous that this fawning, sycophantic conspiracy theorist would be put in charge of the FBI. It's a dark mark that hopefully we'll be able to forget about in the future. That was how he started. And then, of course, there was this Sunday where we had the terrible shooting at Brown that left 2 students dead. So he posted on X this really long thing where he used a bunch of, like FBI-ish words that he probably had to Google to imply that he's doing geolocation, and thanks to that, we've caught a person of interest. And I think that if you've been paying attention to Kash Patel and the FBI throughout this year, it kind of felt like the immediate aftermath of the killing of Charlie Kirk, where FBI Director Kash Patel wants to seem like he's got things under control, so he jumps out there and perhaps jumps ahead of the facts, and that is what happened here. So he's got another long message you can see. It's just everybody stop tweeting long ass. If you want to write a book, okay? Don't do it bit by bit on Twitter. But anyway, no, they didn't catch the right person. And by the way, like that itself is not a major issue or a major surprise. It's just that he shouldn't have posted the tweet in the first place. You're in the immediate aftermath of something like that, okay? They're getting the video, they're talking to people, they're pulling people in. Just let it chill for a second. But he's so hungry, he's so tryhard, he is so horny to seem like he knows what he's doing that yet again he jumped out and made it seem as if they caught the person and they didn't. And that makes it twice as bad for everybody. People are already scared. And then they get a brief moment of thinking, oh, we got the guy? And then, oh wait, no, we don't actually. And then the fear, the terror that it could happen again comes rushing back in. Kash Patel did that, okay? And it was the second time that he did it. Remember, this same thing happened after Charlie Kirk was killed. Take a look.
When we were still looking for the guy, I know you posted that we got him. And that ended up not being true. You took some incoming because of that. What led to you posting that? Why did you feel so certain about it? And what do you have to say about the criticism?
No, I appreciate this opportunity. Look, as I stated, I was being transparent with working with the public on our findings as I had them. I stated in that message that we had a subject and that we were going to interview him, and we did, and he was released. The job of the FBI is not just to manhunt the actual suspect who did the killing or suspects, but it's also to eliminate targets and eliminate subjects who are not involved in the process, and that's what we were doing. Could I have worded it a little better in the heat of the moment? Sure. But do I regret putting it out? Absolutely not.
First of all, let me just say, I love that his voice is exactly what it is. I wouldn't change anything for him. I'm very glad about that. But second of all, yeah, he's very glad for the opportunity to answer to the fact that people are losing faith in him. And it's just, we have to eliminate targets. No, we understand that. The FBI, the actual people in the FBI, they understand that. Nobody's questioning any of that, Kash. Nobody's questioning the process. They're questioning you and the fact that you keep trying to make yourself look cool. You're the one that flies out and then takes coats off of people and then begs for like patches to make yourself. You are so pathetic and cringy. You honestly make Kristi Noem look a little bit less embarrassing by comparison. Like she gets covered a lot more for that sort of thing, but he is just as desperate to look serious, to look reputable as Kristi Noem. We need to make sure that we spread the criticism out. That's what they were criticizing. And so like this is 2 strikes now, and it's making the FBI look like a laughing stock. This is not what Donald Trump chose him for. I don't know what Donald Trump chose him for, but it definitely wasn't this. So he could be going soon. According to those 3 sources, the FBI is in shambles. Morale is at an all-time low. The cause is at the top. Yeah, it was a dude who wrote a pathetic, fawning children's book and did some podcasts, and that was it. That's why he chose. If I was a lifetime, career FBI agent, I would probably be in low morale too. But it isn't just him. It's also Dan Bongino. You haven't heard a lot about Dan Bongino for some time, and there's a reason for that. He's not really doing anything. Like, he's occasionally tweeting about something that the FBI is doing, but that might like make it seem as if he's involved in it. I mean, after all, he's part of the leadership of the FBI, right? Maybe, kind of. According to reports from inside of the FBI, he has not been seen in his office for more than 2 weeks. It has apparently been empty for half a month at this point, indicating to some that he has actually already left the agency. It just hasn't been announced yet. And that might seem a little bit crazy, but remember, Trump wants to make it seem as if there's not this turnover, that the embarrassing, pathetic toadies that he chose to staff his regime with don't need to be replaced and actual experts put in. And so one way that you do that is by not actually firing them. But if it comes to the point where you have to fire them, or maybe Dan Bongino realizes that his reputation is just taking too many hits over the fact that he's just sitting, in the Epstein investigation cuck chair and doing absolutely nothing for the victims, maybe he wants to leave and he just doesn't want to be around anymore. But either way, he apparently hasn't been working. And if that's the case, I feel like he shouldn't be getting paid. Like, doesn't he kind of owe us? Like, we pay for that. We pay for his salary. If he's not actually clocking in, why the hell are we paying him that? And I'm assuming it's quite a bit of money. So anyway, if he does go, I think that the FBI is going to be perfectly fine with it. One of the staffers asked by Salon said, nobody here will miss him, of Dan Bongino. He has no credibility, obviously. But again, who would expect that? It's Dan Bongino. Who thinks he had any credibility? I guess Trump. I guess Trump is stupid enough to look at Dan Bongino and be like, I guess he looks like he could be an FBI guy or whatever. No, he was never made for the job. He had no prior FBI experience. He had previously been a Secret Service agent and a New York police officer. I would love to talk to people who knew him when he was in the Secret Service about what he was actually doing at that point. And then he was a crappy podcaster. He got fired by the NRA network, and eventually I think he worked for Fox or whatever. It's utterly, that's what he's made for. And by the way, remember, he did that interview not that many days ago where he talked about his past. I think he's starting to miss it. When you can just pull conspiracy theories and racist tropes out of your ass and for some reason generate an audience and get paid for it. Maybe that's what he's been doing for the past couple of weeks, is prepping for the launch of his next show. Anyway, if he does end up staying, an FBI source says he has no future here, even if he stays. Yeah, all of these people, and that includes Kristi Noem, they technically work at these places. But if any work is getting done at these places, and I question whether at some of them it is, it's all just being done around them. They have nothing to do with it because they don't know anything about it.